Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Deadline. I'm your host, Poochie Hill. I'm here with a very, very close friend of mine, childhood friend. It's like a brother to me, Mr. Ernest Ruffin, Jr., who is the founder of Young Entrepreneurs Solution, which is called YES, that deals with young people and money and managing their money, understanding the importance of currency, and not only that they're being their own boss. What's going on, big guy?
Earth, what's happening, man? Poochie, what's going on, player?
Man, listen. Jump right into this here. I'm only going to say he's from the bricks. He was a all-time leading scorer for Frank H. Morrell, Irvington High School.
No, correct that. Let's correct that. I was not the all-time leading
Not
scorer.
the all-time?
No, I had a good career at high school.
Okay.
A better career in college.
Okay.
But I was not the all-time leading scorer. No.
Okay. Well, one of them, would that be better?
I led my senior year, I led the team in scoring.
That's what I should have been specific with. Yeah. But he's among the big players up there that I think 1,000 points.
No, not even 1,000.
No?
No. Well, our freshman year, so it's different than today.
Yes.
So our freshman year, we played freshman ball.
Right.
Sophomore year, we played JV ball.
Okay.
Junior year, we played varsity. I was like the 8th, 9th man on varsity, so I didn't play that much. That was the year Monzette and Mansfield and Shaw and those guys.
Yes.
My senior year, I was captain and started.
You was the guy then.
I was the guy.
He was the guy then in 1980.
80.
Now, we're going to go on. He's a Hall of Famer for Bloomfield College. He was also an adjunct professor for Rutgers University. And now we're going to go into the aspects of him teaching young people, because he's going to different countries throughout the world and spoke of this here. And he just came back off a plane, so let's get into it.
What's happening? Yeah, so at Young Entrepreneur Solutions, we teach 6th through 12th grade young people the foundation of entrepreneurship and economic development, right? And so what we want them to do and want them to understand is, you can start and grow a business based off your ideas, work in a team, and sell products and services to one another. And so what we do is we try to get a minimum of 16 students together. We break them down in teams of 4. They come up with an idea, and then we put a business plan together complete with an income statement, a marketing plan, an operations plan, an organization plan, a technology plan. And the students each have a title: CEO, CMO for marketing, COO for operations, CTO for technology, and CFO for financial. The Chief Financial Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Operations Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, and Chief Executive Officer, and they each have to present a section of the plan. The winning team wins $200 each young person, trophies, T-shirts, and a trip to St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands to compete in our national program, which is Young Entrepreneurs National Business Plan Challenge, where we bring the winning teams from around the country to compete for the grand prize of $1,000 each young person. Right?
On the team?
Yes. So it's 4 per team, so they each win $1,000. So, and then we also recognize industry leaders, executives, educators with the YES Entrepreneurship Service Award. And so last year we gave Dame Dash, who co-founded Rockefeller with Jay-Z, the YES Lifetime Achievement Award, our first one, for all he's done in entrepreneurship, and they act as judges. So we gave Dame Dash, Akbar Cook won a YES Service Award from Westside High School principal. This year we have Sean Prez, who helped Puffy start Bad Boy. He's going to win our Lifetime Achievement Award. These guys contact me. I don't know Sean Prez.
I have a question, and that's this here. Being that you're from Newark.
The bricks, yeah.
You've now migrated and you're a resident of Harlem.
Yes.
Is there still some type of way that can be helpful in your hometown as far as the education, as far as the Board of Education or something?
So it's funny you say that. We started the program in Newark.
Okay.
Our first program was the Newark YMCA. We brought kids from the Newark YMCA over to Rutgers, Newark, 2014. That was the first program. The second program, the second year, Newark, Dallas, and St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, right?
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas,
Texas.
Texas. Yeah. So now we're in 25 cities across the U.S. All 3 islands in the Virgin Islands: St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. August 5th of this year, we'll do our first program in London, England, black and brown kids, in Shoreditch, London, Shoreditch, London, with a group of kids from VoyageYouth.com, which is a nonprofit that works with black and brown kids in Europe. So, and those winning teams from all those places, we bring to St. Croix and have our national program.
So that's like the Super Bowl.
That's like the Super Bowl of the YES Entrepreneurship Business Plan Challenge. Yeah.
Question: where did this come from? Did this come from when you were growing up? Because I'm more than sure that the individuals that have these visions and thoughts, as you did, as most of us did growing up, and it was supported pretty much regardless of how confusing it seemed like the community was, but they cared about the youth of that time. That is abstract now, so this is what your program basically does for the generation of today?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about where did it come from, you know, I had uncles that was entrepreneurs. You know, my uncle Junior Gardner.
Put it out there.
Yeah, he had the bowling alley on Lyons Avenue. He had the bar downtown.
Lyons Farm, all that, yeah.
You know, another bar. He had a grocery store. He owned several homes. So this dude was like the ultimate entrepreneur. And every time you saw him, he always gave you something, like $3, $5, which was big money back in the
then?
70s. Yeah. So, so that's, I guess, where the entrepreneurial spirit came from. As far as helping young people, I mean, when we were coming up, people always helped us. We had Boys and Girls Club. We had the PAL.
Yes.
So, you know, we played ball in the Berkeley Terrace School after.
Yes, sir.
In the evenings, at 6,
Yes,
7.
sir.
You know what I mean? So we had these things. So, but what made me start YES was when teaching at Rutgers entrepreneurship at Rutgers University. Well, I started in Newark, and then they take the better professors and move them to Brunswick. So they moved me to New Brunswick, and I had this young white kid. He, you know, my first day in New Brunswick, I put my name on the board, and he starts laughing. I go, "What's so funny?" He goes, "I've been at Rutgers. I'm a junior at Rutgers. This is the first time we had a real entrepreneur as a professor." This kid went on to sell his company to Mark Cuban. His name is Josh Rosenheck, yeah. And he would call me with the professor. So I'm at Cairo Society. We're getting ready to pitch our business plan. You know, we're being offered this. What do you think? And I'm like, you know, so what do you think? Do you think could they? And so Rosenheck went and sold his company to Cuban. Then I had a kid who's selling tie pins. I didn't know tie pins was still a thing. Magnetic tie pins. This another white kid, Paul Przinski. He's selling tie pins like going out of style. Dude featured in GQ magazine. Every time I see him, he's on Instagram with a cigar and a big steak and women all around him. He's making money. Then I had a young white girl come into class, "Professor, my father's going to get me a franchise, a Slotsky's Deli franchise in Inglewood Cliffs or something. But I want to do a business plan because I want to open up more." And so she got to her in Inglewood business. She got licenses for like 12 more. So they were all white kids taking the information I was giving them and running with it. So I said, and we have black students, Hispanic students, Chinese students at Rutgers.
I'm glad you stated that.
But
these are kids. This is the generation of America. So
yeah.
That's important. I want to make that very pertinent and plain, is that it's not about your ethnicity as much as it is you are our greatest asset, natural resource, being a young person.
Yeah, and so, but I said something's missing, that the black kids ain't trying to start as business as much as the white kids are. So I said, let me go younger. What I'm gonna do is go younger, get them at 6th to 12th grade interested in business and entrepreneurship. And so that's really why I started. It came from Rutgers. I use the same stuff I teach at Rutgers.
I would say it came from your uncle, and we don't have to go no deeper, but that right there of self-made, self-sufficient, and self-reliancy, and the fact that you saw that along with athletics to be your vehicle to get out and make a difference and give back. Let's get into that there, how you're not only giving back in the Garden State, but you're now giving back in the Empire State and much abroad.
Well, the whole country, really. Well, I was a good corporate guy too. I was successful in the corporate world as a computer salesman. I sold one company, Sealand, a shipping company out of Newark. Sealand
St.
used
Elizabeth?
yes, Port Newark. Sealand, I sold I think $21 million in computers in 14 countries in 2.5 years, right? Working at NCR Corporation, though. That's when I said, oh, I'm pretty good at this stuff. And I had to travel most of the world to implement these solutions. But the corporate world had a cap on how much money you could make, one. Two, the white executive dudes, like, so to say, listen, Ernie, we're going to do this thing in Hong Kong. We want you to come. So we call the executives, and they were like, well, no, Ernie, we're going to go, right? And so but they didn't know the relationships I had with the Sealand guys. They would call them and say, look, you can come too, but he got to go because when it's 3 a.m., when it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, and it's 3 a.m., excuse me, reverse it. When it's 3 in the afternoon in Hong Kong and it's 3 a.m. in the morning here, my people are not calling you, they calling him. And so you're more than welcome to come, but he got to go, and he needs to be able to spend at least 10 grand on his expense account because we're going out to dinners, and this is what IBM and our other vendors do for us. And if you guys can't do this, so it was that thing. Like, so I learned the power of relationship building. I learned, solutions-based selling, right? And all of those valuable things as a corporate guy. But what I also learned that made me leave was that those dudes was always in control. If he could have stopped me from going, he would stop me. They put you on my account, right? And I don't have a problem with you getting on my account because I'm a team guy. I play ball my whole life. But don't mess with my money. So they would put you on my account, try to cut my money, give you some, just corporate welfare at its highest level. That's what forced me out, really. I was like, yo, I'm good at this stuff. Let me start my own thing and do my own thing and be in control of my own destiny.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to hear one of my comrades and brothers that had a vision like I did. I've had several people throughout my life, just as you have, that are mentors to us. And we'll be speaking of that in the next segment. And if you care to parlay, you're welcome. What's funny is that how is the Newark system helping you now? Is it helping you now because it's back under the control of the city?
Well, I work closely with Westside High School and Akbar Cook. The Westside has been my largest YS program to date. And what I mean by that, we taught 120 kids one time. Auditorium full of young people.
So you basically were one of the pillars of strength or building blocks, aside from the Ellen DeGeneres, you were one of those in the foreground.
Yeah, you know what is crazy is I was winning an award from the Q's.
Okay.
Community Service Award for YS. Akbar was winning an award from the Q's for what he do at Westside High School. I had never met the brother, right? And I did my acceptance speech and I came back to the table and he's like, I know you. I was like, he said, well,
because he's much younger than us.
He's much younger than us. He said, I went to high school with your cousin Rashawn Palmer. I said, oh, okay, yeah. He said, you used to be a sports agent in the NBA. I said, yeah. He said, you the one took Eric Williams off the streets of Newark. I said, yeah, that's me, yeah. He said, listen, I'm doing all this stuff. He had got the Ellen, he went viral. He got the award for Ellen. He said, I'm doing all this stuff. And he said, but I'm not getting at the bag. And I hear you know how to get at the bag. He said, so I need you to help me, get at the bag. I said, all right. So let's meet twice a month at Don Pepe's. I said, I live in New York now, but I'll come over and we.
This is home.
Yeah, this is home. This is home for me. So, and we would meet, and we would talk about different. First thing I did with him was he's got this really good program called Lights On.
I've heard
of it.
Yes.
That's where he keeps the lights on in the summertime after 6 p.m. so that the kids can keep the kids off the streets, so they got somewhere to go. And I said, first thing we need to do is trademark Lights On. It's not trademarked, so anybody could use it. So I trademarked it for him. And so that's how I got involved with Westside and Cook. We won an award together. he reached out and said, look, show me how to do a couple things. And that's who got me Dame Dash. It was Cook. I mean, that's his
So
guy.
it goes back to
So it goes back.
your brother's keeper and each one teach one.
That's right. And
Going back to five-star
yeah.
basketball camp,
Yeah.
okay? And the thing about that there is that you're including young ladies. How are they taking this here, pretty much? The young ladies, are they really more so engaged than the boys? Or when I
As
say
quiet as
that,
it kept, man, I mean, we got to get the boys up to speed, the young ladies. I just did 2 weeks in St. John in the Virgin Islands. It was 14, 15 young teenage girls and 2 boys. And
do you have an answer of maybe why?
the boys ain't involved, man. Some places.
You have to explain that for the audience when you say not involved.
The boys are not involved with this type of business education. If it was a rap music seminar, something like that, it would be the opposite.
Okay.
Right? But when you're talking business and we're not getting them engaged in that, and meanwhile the young ladies are, all in, creating smoothie companies, creating, hair salons, creating.
Yes.
These are teenagers.
Well,
physical therapy company.
But
Teenagers.
now that you spoke of that there, Ruff, they have always said to us that when we're going in high school, who's taking us to high school or to school, per se, grade school, it's the young ladies that are a little older, they're more mature, more responsible. And as we come through, hopefully we catch up with them, and then now we become the shepherd, the leader of the pack. I say that because the interest from the aspect of, say, Title VII with female athletics, everyone, just like boys, they're not going to all be athletics, but you've seemed to have made this very, very exciting, competitive, and the most important thing I would say is they're ignited into it fully, just as if it was a competitive game, because it is competitive, but you're dealing with dollars, relationships, and branding your own thing. So that there maybe has to be broken down more to some males, regardless of their ethnicity, but as you stated, coming from the inner city, how has it really, really helped the young men that you have?
Well, they get the confidence that they can start their business, and they can start a business and grow a business. And I explained to them, you don't have to make $1 million to be successful in business. You can make $200,000-$300,000 as a plumber or an electrician, carpenter, right?
It goes back to the W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, where it's trades and scholastics. Whereas they both are most essential, especially today. There are so many. I'll break this down to athletics, which we know pretty well, is that you can make all league team. You can make all, I wouldn't say county, but they have so many teams that you can make before you make a city or the Big Ten, the old Big Ten or something like that there. So there has been a lot of things made whereas kids, if they get involved, they can succumb to the pressure, because as we look back now, we find that high school is that long.
Oh yeah, it's quick.
And the pressure is enormous because you're going from grade school to high school, 4 years, then you go to college, and it changes again when you come in the real world. But each and every preparatory step, there is a lesson to learn about yourself. So, I would like for you to speak of also the black football games you have coming up.
Oh, so it's crazy. So with our program, our national YS program in St. Croix, getting a lot of notoriety and branding.
This is football, not soccer.
No, this is still entrepreneurship.
American football, though.
This is still entrepreneurship, right? I'm going to get right to you, I promise. So with the notoriety of our YS entrepreneurship program in St. Croix, I get a call from the Bloomfield College coach, Gerald Holmes, and goes, Ruff, can we do a HBCU basketball tournament in the Virgin Islands? And I go, yeah, Gerald, I pretty much could do anything in the Virgin Islands under my program, because I built up some good, goodwill and cachet and relationships. And so he said, okay. I said, can you get me 4 teams? I said, first of all, Bloomfield is not a HBCU.
But it is.
It was not. I went to Bloomfield, right? It was,
Now they say it is.
no, it's not.
It's still
It is-
not?
It's a PBI.
Okay.
It's a predominantly black institution.
And it's private too.
It's been private, yeah. But it doesn't have the historical,
Okay.
so it can't be an HBCU yet. I think it's a
Gotcha.
certain amount of time
Got you.
that has to go past. But he said, no, we're a PBI. Like you, I was like, we're not a HBCU. I'm an alum. He's like, no, we're a PBI. I said, oh, I didn't know that. I said, oh, okay. And he got me 3 other schools, Bowie State and Elizabeth City and somebody else. I can't remember.
Elizabeth City.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. And so, so I'll go back to the commissioner of tourism and go of the VI and go, listen, man, they want to do a black college tournament here under YS. He's like, you get me the teams? I said, I got them. He said, well, send me the email. The team's committed. And so that's how we got into basketball, right, in St. Thomas. And so we did it 2020, right? COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
We still did it. Excuse me, something in my throat. We still did it. It was successful. Last year, we were supposed to have 8 teams, right? So we jumped from 4 to 8. And Kenny Anderson, who played at the Nets and in the NBA, he coaches at Fisk University. And they sent their kids home for Christmas on Southwest. And Southwest had that big debacle last year. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
flights was canceled.
Yes, sir.
And so the kids couldn't come back to school, get back to school in time to get on the flight to St. Thomas. So they didn't show. And then Livingstone College had a young fella who went home for Christmas, drove back to school, no seatbelt, car accident, demised, unfortunately. And so they didn't come, so we had 6 teams. So the first year, Elizabeth City State won the championship. Second year, West Virginia State University, who was, remind you, these are D2 schools. They had 12 athletes, man. I mean, everybody could jump out the gym. They were big, they were athletic. They were ranked number 16th in the country at the time. And they came through, and it was a very tough tournament. This year, we have 8 teams. West Virginia State University is back, Bloomfield. Well, Bloomfield didn't play the first year,
Okay.
even though it was Gerald's idea.
Yes.
They didn't come the first year, but they're coming this year.
Okay.
We have University of Fort Lauderdale. We have Clinton College, which is a school.
Where's Clinton at?
South Carolina, but let me tell you something. They're a school that, how you say, if you can't get in these other schools, you go to Clinton.
They're a dog. They compete.
They get the best they get the best cats. These are the guys who can't get in this college regularly. I had no idea, man. Clinton, they gave West Virginia
Trouble.
74-70.
What?
16th in the country. They lost that first game to West Virginia State University. They didn't lose another game. They were tough. So we got them coming back. We have Claflin University out of South Carolina coming. We have
These are D2s.
Yeah, Virginia State University
Yeah.
coming back. They played last year. And who am I missing? We got 8 of them. I'm missing one, I think. So that's going to be a hell of a tournament. Now, football, your thing. So, because we do this business plan thing in St. Croix, I was visiting St. Croix, and FIFA is soccer.
Mm-hmm.
They have a newly built FIFA soccer field that's beautiful,
Okay.
built by FIFA, so you
Okay.
know it's nice.
Yes.
Laid out. I'm like, what is it? And they don't really
They don't really
use it enough. So I called the commissioner again of tourism and said, hey, commissioner, you think the FIFA will let me bring American football to St. Croix? He said, well, let me make a call. So he called them. They was like, absolutely. I said, well, we're going to have to mark the field for football, but we could power wash it up.
Absolutely.
They said no. So they said, are you serious? So then I called the 4 different black conferences, the MEAC, the SWAC, the CIAA, and the SIAC.
SIAC, mine.
SIAC.
That's my conference.
SIAC hit me back. Well, no, MEAC and SWAC hit me back on the email, said they were interested, but we didn't have to sit down after basketball season. I'm saying, why? We have to sit down after basketball season. That's 3 months. SIAC never hit me back.
Really?
CI hit me and said, yeah, we would definitely be interested in playing. And so we've been dialoguing, me and the CIAA, right, going back and forth. So he said, listen, we'll get you Fayetteville State University, who won it last year, versus Shaw University.
That's a pretty good one.
Right? And what we'll do is, because what I've created is the YES U.S. Virgin Islands HBCU Bowl game.
Nice.
Right? And so what they're saying is, on October 28th, we have Fayetteville playing Shaw. At Shaw, we'll just move that to St. Croix. I'm like, perfect. So that's the plan. That's what we're doing.
It looks pretty good.
No, it looks not. It's like 95% done. It's like done. The SIAC hit me back and said, the commissioner said, Holloman, he said, yo, we're very interested in playing.
Who? Which teams?
He's just the commissioner, any teams. He didn't say no teams yet. I said, well, I'm down the road with the CI because when I hit you, he said, yeah, I get so many emails, but with my coaches, because I got 2 teams in your basketball tournament. I go, yeah. He said, well, my coaches told me I need to talk to you. Let's make it happen. I said, so here's my thought. So we're going to have that game on the 28th, and it's just a game replacing a game.
Okay.
Right? It's the same game, but instead of doing it at Shaw, we'll do it in the Virgin Islands. We'll bring the 2 teams down. They'll play.
Good exposure for the kids.
Great exposure. Great for recruiting, all that stuff. But here's what I want to do. I want to take the champion of the SIAC versus the champion of the CI double and have my bowl game in like November of the years to come.
That's heavy.
And so
nice vision.
That's what hopefully that's what we get to. And so after this game, and knock on wood, we have success in this game, which we will, then we'll talk to the 2 leagues and say, let's take your champion versus this champion. Let's bring them down and after season over in November, and let's play this bowl game.
It's almost like an all-star game.
Yes. And so that's how we got to football.
That's good.
And so it was actually, I can't take credit for basketball because it wasn't me, it was Gerald who called me and asked. And I said, yeah, I could put it together, but it was his idea. And so I put it together. That's right now we're probably the top 1 or 2 Division II tournaments in the country.
Question, is it possible that you can use amateurs in that too?
What do you mean amateur?
Amateur basketball players.
What do you mean? They're college kids. They are amateurs.
No. Younger, I should say, the 19 and down or the 17.
Oh, AAU.
Yes.
I don't.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother situation.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could do it, right?
Could you imagine getting a 15-year-old getting consent of his parents and his parents come with him and the exposure?
That's what happens with our business program. You got to remember, these are 6th to 12th graders, right? They're like 10 to 18. So we have to get the consent from their parent. And we pay for the 4 kids to come, plus a chaperone, because we don't have time to watch kids, right? So if you come from the Boys and Girls Club, a chaperone from the Boys and Girls Club, we pay for that. If you come from the YMCA, if you come from Westside High School. So like Cook had 4 kids come last year, plus a chaperone, plus he came. He paid his own way, right? But, we have the superintendent of schools this year up north. Roger will win the YES award, and he'll be a judge. I forget his last name.
Leon.
Roger Leon. Roger Leon will be a YES Entrepreneurship Service Award for his support of Cook, and we have South 17th Street, Teddy Allen School coming this year too.
Your former alumni brother's former school, Dave Wright.
Oh, yes, my guy, Dave Wright.
Beautiful guy.
Yeah, hell of a guy.
One of my mentors.
Yeah.
Over the Weekway.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So,
now, watch this. You spoke of that. Roger Leon deals with the debate team too, so that might be in the mix too.
Well,
that's deep.
What's happening is we're probably going to have a Newark program soon, like YES Newark, right? And they'll compete for the best teams in Newark, and we may bring 2 or 3 of them
You ever go abroad?
to the Nationals. The Nationals, after we do London, it's going to be ridiculous. It's already ridiculous, but that type of global black and brown kids from London coming to compete against American and the Virgin Island kids. We'll do the BVI too, the British Virgin Islands, probably toward the end of the year, Tortola. So we're growing, man. I'm blessed. We work, we work hard. They're killing me. I'm not getting any younger. I got my kids in line to take over, but they don't work like we do.
Well, I was always told, and as my uncle told me who came into the studio, we're our parents' kid, but we're not made of the leather that they're made of. We're not even talking about their parents that they're made of. So we're looking at our kids. It gets weaker. The Bible speaks of how you get larger physically, but your fervor is not as strong.
We had to go through more than they did.
Yeah.
Our parents had to go through more than we did.
And they have no
And their
acknowledgement of it.
Yeah.
Now, that's another nice little, speaking of, do you all speak of the things that have occurred in some kind of way that has emancipated to the point of entrepreneurship, and that it was entrepreneurship back then?
Give me an example.
Ida C. Wells and things like that there.
Oh, yeah, we
So they
always...
basically get like a history.
Yeah, we do. I mean, that's why we bring in like a Dame Dash, right? Because these kids don't know Dame.
They have no reason to.
Their parents do, but they know Jay-Z and they know Rockefeller. They heard of Rockefeller, right? And so and the thing with Dame was, I had him explain how they built Rockefeller out the mud. They could not get a record deal, right? And so
they started doing that in the trunk of their car and everywhere.
They had to do it. They had to roll up their sleeves and do it.
What do you see different of our time since we're together? We're 80 guys.
Yes.
We just coming out. You graduated 80, I graduated 79. It was a whole nother dynamic with the VH1 and the big videotapes and all that there. What do you see different now than then? Because
Streaming.
Okay.
Streaming, right? The streaming game. What I learned as I grow older is, we're a democracy per se. We are a democracy. It's still controlled by a few, right? And so, even in the streaming game, right? The streaming game, the internet should be open to everybody. But I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, right? It's still controlled. Facebook allows you to have 5,000 friends before you have to have a different page. They have to have a page. And mostly celebrities, they get to 5,000. I've been at 3,300 friends for 5 years. It's controlled. They're controlling. They don't want me to get to 5.
Why?
Because they want to control how many people get large, right? And sometimes you can't control certain talent. So in other words, if you're a great basketball player or whatever, they let you get to that level. But from a business perspective, I mean, look in
a whole nother arena.
Yeah, because look at our leaders, right? Who would you say the leaders of the white world are? And then when we're talking about white issues or issues, who would you bring? Who do they bring to the table when you talk about issues from a white perspective?
I was going to say lawmakers.
Well, just think about it. Give me a couple of examples of people you think they bring, that you've seen them bring. They'll bring Bill Gates to some issues, right? They'll bring up...
but that's dealing with business, though. Nothing else. It's like this.
Just their issues, right? Issues, just issues. They'll bring up Bill Gates. They'll bring up Musk. They'll bring up maybe a politician. You'll never see Tom Brady, right? But our issues, who are we bringing up? We're going to bring up
athletes and entertainers.
And Reverend Al Sharpton. Nothing against Reverends. Jesse Jackson. LeBron. These dudes they're great at what they do.
That's it.
But when you're talking about that real issues and real business,
of dealing with business.
they bring those guys. This is who they bring for us. And what I'm trying to do, and so they're not going to let you rough the business guy. You just got to keep kicking it in and taking it and knocking it over. I've been past 5,000 years ago. So it's controlled. I already know it's controlled, and look who owns it. Facebook owns Instagram, that owns Snapchat. TikTok's owned by China. They're trying to get rid of it.
Okay.
Our country's trying to get rid of TikTok. It's owned by China. They're saying it's a way for China to spy on us. And maybe so, because they all got all kind of tactics. But these things are just owned by a few companies, and it's controlled.
And it stays like that.
And it stays like that, right?
For generations.
And so what I'm trying to do is teach young people just to control their destiny, control their business, control their communities, control their lives. I'm not saying destroy anybody. I'm saying control yours, right? And have a good life, have a good shot at it. That's all.
They've said that this is a democracy. And I understand that. It's not a dictation.
No.
But is it really? Is the question.
It is what
you think.
Yes.
It's really what you
think. It is with an asterisk. You can do anything in this country.
If you have the grind, the skills,
and the determination.
And the will.
It's
not always the skill of a man,
it's the will. It's the will, right? It's the will. Because in 2013, I wrote and executive produced a movie called The Caribbean Heist, right? Hardest project I've ever done. And I did this because Eric Williams, a kid I took off the streets of Newark, who went to Shabazz, and then I coached him in the whole summer league. I didn't know who he was. He just could play. I said, this dude's a pro, right? But he was going the wrong way. He was on the corners doing the wrong stuff. And I went and said, hey, let me go meet your mother. Take me to meet your mother. He takes me to meet his mother. And I sit down with him and his mom, and I said, Pat, I can get him out, but you got to keep him out. Right.
You have to say that again for the audience.
Yeah,
keep him in and get him.
Yeah, I said, Pat, I can get him out of the hood, but you got to keep him out of the hood.
Now, let's stay on that there. Why is it, being that you brought it up, and it's most essential, Jay Marat?
Yes.
What? You have to explain it, since you spoke of that they have to keep him out. Why is that once you make it out, you feel that you owe something, that you have to come back?
It was Jerry.
No, I didn't say come back, but you have to change your
dialogue.
Because
John Marat ain't from the hood.
So
he's fascinated with it.
There you go.
He's not from. He didn't grow up like Eric. No food, got to hustle to make money. You know what I'm saying? That's different.
Johnson Avenue kid. No.
Yeah, Eric's he's a Hayes Holmes kid. Hayes Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't a Hayes. Morant ain't nowhere near Hayes Home Project kid. Morant grew up with two parents at the crib, father, supporting him, teaching him, and he grew up with a support system, good schooling, good parents, good food on the wasn't no hustle thing. Now he's a star. He's a hell of a ball player.
He can go everywhere else he couldn't go before.
Yeah, but now he's fascinated with that life, and
Do you believe now? The question is, what they're going to do to him? As an example, was it worth it?
It's not a good enough example.
Explain.
He got 25 games. You might have to, a guy like him, you might have to sit him down a year.
Because that's a God-given talent.
No, he worked. His father worked the hell out of him and his sister. They both, his sister's WNBA. His father worked them. He might have some gifts, but they work. His father had him, big tires, moving tires, jumping over tires. He jumps like that. He was, those big truck tires? Mm-hmm. His father had him jumping over tires, man. Look, no, he put the work in. And his sister's nice, right? He working both of them. No, Morant, he loves it, right? He loves it. They got to sit him down a year. Yeah, so he really see that,
But is the example for him or for those that follow?
Both. Because they already talked to him. He did the same thing again. So they already had the conversation with, look, young fella, we setting you up. We can $200 million. You're on every commercial. NBA. I was a sports agent in the NBA from 1995 to 2002-3, right? So I know how it works, right? The NBA has certain commercials. You see Gatorade, you see Allstate, you see those are NBA commercials. They assign those people, right? Now you as an agent can go out and get, like I got Joe Smith, who was one of my clients. AT&T just started the internet, just started their internet service. So I got Joe Smith, who was the #1 pick in '95. That deal, right? That was not an NBA deal, but they had Morant set up for all the NBA deals, right? You know, he was going to be the face. He young dude, American dude, can play. Overall,
and his generation.
Overall, good cat. Overall, he ain't a bad dude. Let's get that straight. He ain't a bad dude. He ain't shooting nobody.
Wrong choices.
He ain't doing nothing crazy. But why are we running around with pistols and stuff like that? You know, and you can't, you know.
The videos have a lot to do with that too.
Well, everything is Instagram with this generation. YouTube instantly, right? Snapchat, all that stuff. So that's the thing. He's a good young fella, but you have to. The point I was making back to how we got on Eric was, so working with Eric and get in the NBA, I saw a lot of things, especially with the women, dealing with the females, right? And so I wrote this script called The Caribbean Heights, where women got together, beautiful women, and robbed men. Oh, it's good. We got an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb.com. Hardest project I've ever done. But I worked with a guy out of Linden, New Jersey named Max Sangville. And Max could film and edit, right? And I'm pretty good at marketing. And so I said, Max, how much money we need to put this project together? He said, well, we're going to need about $1 million. So I said, wow, that's a lot, man. Why do we need that much money? You can film and edit, right? And that's the bulk of it. I can do marketing. Max, do you know who Harriet Tubman is? He said, of course, Ruff. We get it in history. I said, what did she do? So she helped free the slaves. I said, how did she do it, Max? He said, well, I don't know. I said, Max, how about Max from Linden? I said, how about me and you walk from Linden to Newark? He looked at me like I was crazy, right? Linden to Newark? I said, well, Harriet walked the country freeing slaves. You can't film and edit? I can't. Why do we need $1 million? He looked at me like, you're right. She walked with a pistol. Will, determination, desire, right? That's what it takes. It don't take all this money. I mean, it took some money, but I'm saying not $1 million. If you can film and edit. Now, we had to hire a film and editing person and hire and hire and hire. I get it. So that's the key right there, right?
Drive, will, sacrifice. Yeah.
That's what she did, man. She walked the country. Look at you when I said let's walk from Linden to Newark. You just saw your face. Your face was like his. Are you crazy?
I said Linden?
Yeah.
You didn't say Elizabeth.
No, I said Linden.
You said the Weequahic section.
No.
You said Linden. I'm thinking of 1 and 9, the graveyard, all this. I'm like, oh, ain't no sidewalk.
Is that not what she did?
That's true. At night.
So.
Where there's a will.
There's definitely a way, especially with us.
But you have to believe. If there's no belief, there's no hope. And if you have no hope, you have no faith.
So.
That's something. You know, this has been very, very energetic. It's real. It's raw. And I hope that young people that look at it understands the importance of grind, because nothing is given for free. There is some lesson that you have to look real close at in order to succeed, but the burning desire, as our parents would say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you'll be. Now, it took me years to understand that. Because if you want like the status quo hanging on the corner, I don't want you on that corner, but if you hanging on that corner, we knew everybody on the corner, but we had parents. If someone told Ms. Ruffin or Ms. Hill or our fathers, there's a problem. They didn't have to see you, but that grown-up said, they saw you.
Right.
You know, me and my uncle, we laughed at that there. We'll be speaking about that shortly of how that was the law. There were guys in the neighborhood. If Miss Jones walked down the street and they bent over, now we're talking about Benny City, me and you time, bent over, but they wouldn't go down. But they bent over. Miss Jones come through there, they'd straighten up, help her with the packages.
Absolutely.
That's all gone.
Oh yeah, that was a different day, man.
Why do you think that's like that now?
Well, a lot of different things. The government got in the way of how we managed our youth back then. I mean, you know, we got spankings if you got out of line.
So they took the chastisement out the home.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that. You can't time out. Time out for who? We different kind of breed of person. You can't time out black people like that. You have to grab that dude in his chest and say, "Do you understand what I'm saying to you?" Right?
I'm gonna say this. I think all parents, and I want to hear what you have to say on it, regardless of your color, regardless of your religion, a parent is a parent because there's no school for it. And if you had no dual parency in your home, it didn't matter. There's a certain amount of authority you had to listen to. Now, the police was one thing, but you was more afraid of your parents.
And that's how it should be, right? Because if you're afraid of your parents, you don't get to the police. Okay, you know. One of my best friends growing up, was your cousin, Lamar, right? We just played ball every day. We played basketball every day, then Lamar played football. He was good at both. But we played basketball.
But his father, Uncle Al,
was a cop.
And then Al Jr. wasn't having that there because Al Jr. was he was the first to break it in up there with a full page.
Yeah.
And Derek, of those three, was the more lucrative. Lamar was kind of rigid. Al was rigid.
Yeah.
So you went from this to that, but the structure was, you got to answer them when you come home.
Yeah. No.
And you're the oldest, so you're going to get it first.
Yeah, and so it was different, right? Your parents, one of my other best friends was Mike McClendon. I don't think you knew Mike. But Mike played. Mike could shoot if Mike was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Really?
He would stick his tongue out and shoot the three and hit it deep. And we didn't have three.
Wait a minute, you're talking 30 years before Mike Jordan stick his tongue out.
Mike would stick his tongue out and shoot that ball deep and make it. Right. Mike was the neighborhood booster. Mike was the neighborhood Walmart.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not the guy with the green eyes. You know who I'm talking about.
No, that's not him. No, Mike ain't had green eyes. Mike lived next door to me. So Mike was a booster, right?
You might have to explain that for the new generation.
A booster is not a thief. A thief will steal from anybody. Mike wouldn't steal from you. It's people he knew. He wouldn't come to your house and take a thing. But if he go to Five and Dime in Irvington Center or Woolworths, but these are stores young people don't know about back in the day, you're rough. You hungry? Yeah, let's go get some candy. And we would walk to Irvington Center, and then Mike would go in the store because I'm wait outside because I know if we get caught, I'm getting killed.
And during that time in Irvington,
cops was rigid.
Matter of fact, let's speak of Millertown. This we telling our age, and it's kind of funny, but Millertown, remember?
Yeah.
Now, this is before the Mike Steels.
Yeah, it's the Mayor Miller.
Please explain to those that go to Irvington High, quickly, how it was a difference, turbulence and everything else, trying to go to Jimmy Buff. Please.
Well, Irvington back then was racially divided.
Okay.
Right, so we were kind of like the first generation to come up, black.
Yes,
to come
you
up
were.
To Irvington.
In Groves.
Yeah, to come up to Irvington, right? And
from Grove to, what's the junior high where we used to go play ball? This is the whole city. This ain't like Newark, you got a school here, school. Yeah. You went to several schools.
Berkeley Terrace.
And you all went to one high school. At some point, you're going to end up together.
So this side of Irvington went to Berkeley Terrace Elementary School.
Talk about the number streets now.
The right side, if you were
By Irvington Park.
no, that's so. Let me break it into three. It's a good point. So Clinton Avenue side of Irvington went to Berkeley Terrace. Clinton down to Ellis and Grove Street. Now the other side of Grove Street, past Clinton Avenue, past Springfield Avenue.
Is that Augusta?
No, they went to Grove Street School.
Right.
Elementary, right? Irvington Park side of
Over by the
Irvington,
hospital.
yeah, over by it. Well, not even that far over, but Mark Glover and them went to
That school there now. It's called
Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon High
Yes.
School. Well, elementary.
Yes.
And then Union over by the hospital those people went to Union to sixth grade, 1 through K through 6. So you got Union K through 6, Mount Vernon K through 6, Berkeley K through 6, Grove K through 6.
Then you go to junior high.
Everybody go to Myrtle, 7th and 8th, junior high.
Ain't that something?
Now we walk. This is like 2 miles.
All of you.
Everybody to the school.
You never walked alone.
No,
in
you was
groups.
always with your crew. You had your friends, you know.
meet up on the
Yeah,
way.
you meet up and we walk to the high school. Right. So my kids, one day, my car was broke when I moved down to North Carolina, and my kids grew up from North Carolina. Talking about being from different leather, right? And so Walmart was about 3 miles away. So I walked to Walmart, and I walked back with like 4 bags or something like that. It was like, this was an amazing feat to my kids. It was like, Daddy, you walked to Walmart? Are you? Yeah, we walked to school like rain, sleet, snow, or hell.
Snow, yes sir.
We walked a long way. So then we all came together for middle school. Then we all went to the high school together. Then the white guys and
That's above Jimmy Buff.
above Jimmy Buffs and them, they was already at the high school. They had a different school, and they went to St. Leo's, a couple Catholic schools. Just that. But it was racially divided,
Yes.
big time.
Your class reunion was the first one together, or was it still y'all had 2?
No, we was together. We was together.
The last one.
Let me tell you, 1976, 77, I was a freshman in high school. I went to the graduation. Kenny Webb and all them were graduating, right? After the graduation, you know, they take the caps off, throw them in the air. There was a race riot right there on the football field.
I heard.
Police had to come with dogs and everything. I was like,
Talk
gee.
about that dog.
I mean, that you know, that K9 was vicious.
Talk about that dog,
Yeah.
because it wasn't in Newark then,
No.
but it was in
Irvington,
Irvington.
no question. They had the dogs and everything because the blacks and the whites was fighting each other. It was crazy, man. It was a real racial tension. And then if you Irvington Park, we used to call that lovers lanes because the white kids would be in the park.
Because remember where the basketball court was,
Right
remember?
from the basketball court. They would park alongside there, and that's where they would get with their girls and be kissing, and we would bang on their cars.
Well, you know I'm going to say this here as we bring this to a close. Yes, yes, yes. And yes stands for?
Young Entrepreneurs Solutions.
This is my brother. This is the CEO, and he's a real brother. Please get at him. His name is Ernest Ruffin, Jr., my brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
You know that. You know that.
Yes. Thanks.
As I always end each program, I had to think for a minute because I've had such a wonderful time. Before we can love all people, we must first love ourselves. But this segment spoke of your will, not your skill. Thank you. Is that okay? That's my Uncle Jeff.